I'm going to start the recording and make this official for the people that can't watch live. So my name is Gwen Foster. I'm a naturopathic doctor in Katy, Texas, and I have been in healthcare for 20 years. And I got here like most people that are in natural medicine. I got here because I used to be a very sick, unhealthy person. I used to have a lot of health conditions. I used to take 9 medications a day, literally to live. I mean, that's how bad off I was. I never thought I'd live to be 50. I'm 57 now. Never thought I would make it this far. And I can say that if it wasn't for alternative medicine, I don't think I would have made it, because I just had issues that every time I'd go to the doctor, I'd just get another drug, another drug, another drug. The good news is if you have a lot of complex conditions like lupus, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, asthma, these are things I had, acid reflux, shingles, there are solutions. And thank God I found natural medicine is all I can say. And thank God I knew a few people that connected me to the right places and the right stuff. Okay. So tonight I want to talk about Healy, and mine is on the charger right now because I've been using it all day for me and my doggy. So this is the Healy device, and I want to talk about why it's unique and special, because I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on technology and equipment. And I have to say, I don't get too excited when people try to pitch me a new device. I just don't, because I've seen it all, done it all, been to many other countries. I've tested technology from other countries, all the way from China to Brazil. And I've had a lot of exposure to devices like different types of informational systems, radionics, imprinters, random number generators, low-level lasers, scalar devices, the Tenant biomodulator, which is an energy device, TENS units, medical thermal imaging. I mean, those are just a few things that I either own or have owned. And so when I heard about Healy, what intrigued me was that it was considered a personal use device, which I'm all about, is personal responsibility in our healing and taking responsibility for our health and getting better. And the second thing I was really excited about that had to do with that was that I have a lot of clients and I'm very busy, and I really want to empower people to help themselves. I don't want them to be dependent on me. I don't want to be the answer person. I want people to have something they can do at home on their own. And honestly, I own a software company. I have owned one for 10 years and I sell software. I train people on software, but it's not really regular person user friendly. It's really based on you being a practitioner and having a database of knowledge. And so the other part that I've never felt was the right mix was when people talk about like personal use devices. I feel like there's a lot that goes with that. You know, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of education, or they're too monotonous and tedious. Like let's say the whole Clark Zapper. If you guys know what that is, that's a device that has been around forever. And it's a personal use device also that zaps parasites mostly, but also fungus, candida, and things like that. But I find most people are not compliant because they won't sit there and do the protocol. They won't do 12 minutes, 12 times a day, or no one's going to do that. Like I know human psychology and it tells me they're not going to do that. I don't even like frequency generators. I love the effects of them. I love the research behind them. I love the possibility that they can do all kinds of things. I can't say cure. I'm not going to say the word cure, but let's just say they do lots of things, but they're very tedious. You have to put on a timer, dial something, or type in a thing and sit there and wait and then do something else. And this goes on for hours. And oh my God, just shoot me, because I'm not going to do all that stuff. So when I found out about the Healy, I was, I know the guy that's behind the microcurrents, Nuno Nina. He came to a seminar I taught in about 2006 or 7. And he's a bright guy. He's a genius. And anything he does at 110%. And he had, you know, taken microcurrents, which are not new. He did not develop microcurrents. Microcurrents have been around since at least the 40s being researched. What he did was take microcurrents and research which microcurrents did what effectively, and he put those into a protocol that he was using in Portugal. And he still is using in Portugal. He has very successful health clinics in Portugal, like the Dr. Oz of Portugal, basically. Very wealthy, very successful, waiting list to get in to see one of his clinics. Okay, so Time Waiver, which is an informational system company, knew about Nuno's success. They had added microcurrents to their practitioner platform. And they approached him and said, we want to know what you're doing that is so successful, and we want to buy that information from you. I'm telling you the short version of the story. And so that's what happened. And so that's how the Gold Cycle programs came to be. And then there was a lot of research. So this program, this Healy that you guys are hearing about now is not something that some IT guy thought was a good idea. This is like researched and researched and researched, like from the 40s, like Elton Pig, Royal Rife, Nina Silver, all these great people that have worked with microcurrents. Carolyn McMakin, lots of YouTube videos with her and other people. But what Healy did that was so special was they put it in a personal use device, because you didn't have to have this whole curriculum on how to be effective with Rife frequency treatments. You didn't have to sit there all day and dial numbers and plug in stuff and watch a timer. You could actually live. So mine is usually right here in my shirt under my bra strap. If it's on my dog, it's laying on his back, and he usually, as soon as I turn it on, he always repositions himself. Today I was doing teeth stuff on him, and I had put it on his back, and within seconds he turned around and he was laying it with it on his cheek. He does that almost every time I do the dental pain program. I was also doing free flow and breath of life, which are two that I do on him almost every day. And every time I do those, it's on his back. When I start, he turns around and digs up the bed, and every time he has the Healy against his chest with his paws, like coveting it like this. It is like the cutest thing. I need to take a picture of it. I do have pictures, but I won't go into that right now. I need to put them out to you guys, because his intuitiveness tells him like somehow what I'm doing, and that's where he goes with the programs. So in a nutshell, Healy, well, it's done a lot more than what I just said, but there's one whole app meaning phone app, that is just microcurrents, but microcurrents that are in established and defined programs like sleep, skin, pain, learning, mood, meridians, protection, detox. I mean, all of these are defined into segments and groups, which I'll show you in a second. Then there's a whole second side of Healy that is more what I refer to as an informational system. Some people call it scalar stuff. Some people call it quantum. Some people call it, I don't know what people else it's referred to mostly, but I call it informational systems. And it's an ability to analyze someone, to get data, and then at the same time, you can vibrate or broadcast this remedy back to the person. So I have a story from yesterday. My dog for 2 days did not basically eat anything. And he's 15. He has congestive heart issues that, you know, he rallies. On some days he runs and acts like a puppy. And on some days he sleeps a lot. Well, the last 2 days worried me because he was sleeping a lot. And honestly, I get sometimes too busy, just like the rest of us get busy. I didn't do the Healy, I don't think at all, for 2 days. So yesterday I did analyze, and 2 homeopathic remedies showed up for him. One has never showed up on him before, but it's basically like exhaustion, and also like, it didn't say low will to live, but something close to that. And the Carbo Veg, which is very similar. And I broadcast those remedies to him for 5 minutes. About an hour later, he got up, he drank about a half a bowl of water. He ate half of a dinner human portion of salmon. That was my dinner. He ate about 1/4 of a pound of shredded ham. He ate another like half a cup of high-end kibble, and he ate a snack. Now that was all like last night for dinner. So he kind of made up for the 2 days that he didn't eat. And then, you know, this morning he's running at the dog park like he's a new little guy. And tonight he was ready to go for a walk, and I'm like, no, I got to call, you know. So breaks my heart, you know, because he's used to a schedule. But when he rallies, and especially after I've done like a broadcast of 5 minutes, it's noticeable. It's something that you can't identify how it's happening, but you know that something has just changed, because you know yourself, you know your animals, you know when something is different. So I'm gonna show that. And then the other thing is the watch. So I have on the watch, if I move it, you can see the screen comes on. The difference between the Healy watch and the Fitbit, I don't know if you can see that, between a Fitbit and smartwatches, and that just gives you similar criteria of your sleep, your steps, your heart rate. It gives you actual solutions. And when you buy the apps, which was the questions Les was asking in the beginning of the call, when you buy the apps, they integrate between the watch and your Healy device. So these two work hand in hand to give you the solutions. So if my heart rate variability is showing up, it's getting better. For those of you following these calls, every week you'll see my numbers gotten better, but it's still not great. And so I keep like plugging away at it. So that's the best we can do, right? Is plug away at whatever the issues are. But they all are intended to work together. So there's a digital nutrition app, which will give you the nutritional recommendations, but more importantly, the nutritional programs. And then there's an advisor app, which you can do a search, like let's say a Wikipedia search, and it'll tell you which programs to run for like thyroid or chronic fatigue or whatever your issues. And I'm going to demonstrate all this. So if you ask me, there's 5 parts to Healy. There's one, which is microcurrents, which comes with the lower end Healy Gold, Healy Holistic Health, and Healy Holistic Health Plus, which are all microcurrent programs. When you buy the resonance, which is what I have, you get that analyze function additionally. It doesn't come with the lesser models. And then you got the watch, which is to me the next level. Like I would worry about the Healy first and understanding those apps. And then I added the watch, and then I got those programs. So now I have everything. And I use them all the time. I use them depending on what's going on. I use them for me. I use them for my dog. People come in here, I use them. It's something that is a learning process. I'm not going to lie and say you're going to turn on your Healy and your brain is magically going to understand this. That is not going to happen. But depending on how savvy you are with your phone, this is more really phone issues. What I'm finding, and I had no idea except for me how I use my phone, and I was mostly phone illiterate except for my 21-year-old assistant. But what I'm finding with people is most people don't know how to use their phone. They don't know how to close an app. They don't know how to clear the Bluetooth devices because they just don't think about those things. Once you know the basic phone functions of your phone, the Healy apps are super easy to use. It's just a little still bit of learning process, which I'm going to show you. It's not hard. You're going to see me do it and you're going to go, oh, that's easy. And I'm going to say, yes, it is easy. But some people get a little tripped up because they're not. So what I'd like to do is just get into showing you my screen, because that is worth, in this case, the whole point of being on the call tonight. Y'all can hear me jibber jabber all night long, but seeing it kind of in action is what I think is impressive. So I'm going to go to, first of all, the microcurrent apps, and I'm going to turn on my Healy. And actually, what I'm going to do first is make sure it's shut because I've just been using it. Okay, y'all can, thanks Sue for letting me know I was muted. What I was trying to say is that if you don't have your apps closed, but don't try to close them during a Zoom call, then you're not going to be able to see or get into the Healy app. So let me start over. So I'm going to click the Healy app, turn on my device, and then it'll connect. If you have apps running in the background, which is what I was trying to do, is close those apps, you're going to get an interference, which you should know if you're just getting your Healy. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to go through the apps that you get with the Healy. So the first page are the Gold Cycle apps, and these are all microcurrent apps, and these are the ones that are recommended that you actually start with, especially Pure and Release. They all have specific descriptions, and those descriptions are detailed in the program list. So whoever invited you to this call tonight, you can ask them for a list of the programs, and they can give you a description of each one. But let's say you're a rule follower like I am sometimes, and you want to do Pure and Release. Well, you would just, this is how simple this is. You click on Pure, and if you're unmuted, can you guys please mute yourself? I hear somebody heavy breathing there in the background. So, and it's being recorded. Okay, thank you. So if you hit Pure and hit start, what happens is the phone is just your display. So what the phone is doing is it's downloading and transmitting the program from the cloud to your Healy device. So at this point, my Healy is blinking green, and the green is flashing very quickly, which means it's getting the download of this program. It takes about a minute to download whichever program. And then at that point, your phone is not necessary. You can walk away, you can go on a hike, you can get in the car and drive away. You'd probably take your phone with you, but the point is you don't need your phone once the program is downloaded. It will show that you disconnect from the phone, but that doesn't mean the program's not still running, and you'll know that because your green indicator light will still be blinking. This program download the length of time it takes, depends on how fast your Wi-Fi is, what other things you have open. You know, is a Zoom call open, is your TV on, you know, stuff like that will slow this down. Sometimes this is lightning fast, sometimes it's kind of going slow like right now, probably because I'm on Zoom. Once it downloads, it's going to have a timer, and it's going to show you exactly what it's doing, and it's going to start pulsing like it looks like it's breathing. This means the program is now running on your Healy, and the Healy at this point needs to be attached to your body somehow, either with the electrode straps, the wrist straps, or just placed against the body or against your dog's body or cat or whatever. While it's pulsing, it's doing a countdown, and you see it says 52 minutes. And it's going to count down as the little red dot goes around the circle. And on the right, it shows you which hertz it's actually running. Like right now, it says 100.9 hertz, and then it changed to 73.6 hertz. And it's going to keep changing based on the frequencies that they decided were good for Pure, which is a detox program. My explanation of Pure is like your hot lemon water in the morning, and it is recommended you do this every morning. If someone has pain or energy or sleep issues, they always say do Pure and Release first for any of those three, which are the main issues people deal with anyway. So Pure and Release, you should always start with the gold programs. At the bottom, there's a setting showing how high the voltage setting is. So if I want to turn the voltage up, I can just hit the plus sign. If I want to make it go back down, I hit the minus sign. You do not need to feel the microcurrents for them to work. That's actually the beauty of microcurrents, is that it's not meant to be a TENS unit. It is not a TENS unit, and you don't have to feel an electrical charge to feel benefit. But some people want to feel it to know that it's working, so they can crank that all the way up if they want and feel a little electrical charge, and then I would turn it back down because the body has a natural aversion to electricity. I leave mine at 15%, and if I feel even a tingle there, I'll turn it down even lower. When I'm running it for my dog, I leave it at 15%. It doesn't seem to bother him, except he really does know when it's going, because as soon as I turn it off, he whips his head around and looks at me like, what's happened? Why is it off? So he is very aware. Okay, so you see it went down to 50 minutes, and you see the hertz is continuing to change as the program moves along. Now, this is the part I was saying on a Rife generator piece of equipment, which I own one, but I am not going to sit here and change the frequency setting every minute, and you can't do anything else. You can't even have a conversation because you got to watch some kind of guide and change your numbers and do that constantly. And to me, that's a minimum wage situation that I am not interested in doing. And I'm not saying anything against minimum wage people. I'm just saying that is not for me. I'm not going to sit there and turn a dial. And that's why my Rife generator is in my garage, because even though I've had 2 different pieces of equipment, even plasma equipment, I'm not cut out to just turn that stuff like that. It's too monotonous. So I'm very happy I can push a button, not think about it for an hour, go back and do the next program. Okay, I'm going to stop this by just clicking on the pulse. I'm going to exit out. It says, do you want to close? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to go to the next screen. So the next screen is the pain programs. There's 8 of them. If you look in the program guide, it tells you what each one of these are. Yes, there's no description on the page because there's not enough room. So if you go into the program guide, it'll give you more information. But there's 8 programs for pain specifically, besides the pure and the release. Then if you go to the learning programs, these are meant for aging brain, learning, ADD, ADHD, spectrum disorder, anything that has to do with learning, actually cognition, retention, comprehension. Even sometimes people just can't think of the right word and they're stammering, or they walk into a room and they don't remember why. I would go here. On fitness, there's programs for weight loss, muscle, strength, regeneration, deep relaxation. These are not just for fitness like going to the gym. These have to do with also stamina, like regeneration. I had someone this week that I used regeneration on after an injury. We have some actually very good testimonials about using the regeneration program for everything from post-surgery recovery to a broken hand. Okay, job and sleep. This is where I've been spending most of my personal time, is on balanced sleep and systemic sleep. But there's also programs in here for, positive thoughts. Let's say you work or live in a negative situation, balancing the nerves, fatigue, exhaustion, extreme stress. So you see, there's lots of good stuff here. If you don't know what something is, like fine flow, you got to look it up on the program list. So I get a lot of questions, and I'm going to ask you guys, please take the time to look up the program list if you get a Healy, because all of these are well defined in the program list, because people get the app and instead of looking up, they think it's easier to call me. So it's easier if you have the program list and you just look at each description, because you're also going to learn every time you look it up. You're going to go, oh, that's what that's for. The mental balance is for depression and anxiety, but also addictions. So it doesn't say addiction on the screen, but there's tobacco, alcohol, and nicotine. No, tobacco, alcohol, and I guess it's drugs. Addictions are listed within these descriptions. And a lot of people have addictions. Beauty and skin is anti-aging, but also scars. People have scar tissue and stuff that they have slow wound healing, skin elasticity. That's a lot of women or men over 50 have, skin issues. It's because of our collagen production being down as we get older. So all of these are helpful. One thing that was said on a call I was on Sunday, a leader call, is they were saying that that's the next phase of what they're coming out with Healy is programs that are really taking this to the next level, the anti-aging. And that's the biggest, by dollar, the biggest health market in the world is anti-aging as far as revenue. So they're excited to come out with that stuff later this year. Okay, then we have bioenergetic balance 1 and 2. And these are kind of conditions. So colds, allergies, hormone issues, intestinal issues, menstruation, menopause issues. I have used the menopause program plenty. Liver function, food sensitivities. You can just kind of see the screen. There's lots to choose from. What I'm finding with my own Healy is I have kind of my 6 or 7 programs I do as often as I can, but those are like 50-minute programs to an hour. So that's all I can do in a day. I mean, that's just like using it all day long. During the day, I'm basically putting the Healy on my dog, pressing the program I want to do and start. And then at night, when I finish with clients and Zoom calls, I get the Healy for myself from like 7 to whenever I go to bed, which I'm a night owl, so I'm usually up late. But, that's the thing is, if I had time, I'd come back to anti-aging. I don't ever have time to get here because I have other stuff I want to accomplish and do. But there's so much to do. It's more about not having enough programs. It's having enough time to run everything that you want to do. Then there's meridians, and the meridians are based on traditional Chinese medicine. And the theory behind meridians is when you're working on one meridian, you're dealing with an entire cycle of the body, from tooth around the body and the meridian back to another tooth, and it's a whole system. So you could actually have a tooth issue that would affect your heart, let's say, or you could have a meridian be out of balance. It's the whole genitourinary system. And so this was cool too, meridians. And then we have chakras. So we have all the chakras that we can work on balancing. We have protection programs, which are for bringing actually cell vitality back to the body to be able to work against what all these invaders are, like cell phones. And sleeping means like EMFs and electrical stuff and things that affect people from sleeping, geopathic stress, planetary issues, subtle energies. A lot of people don't even know what this is, and I could write a whole book on this. Like, this is so apparent with my clients, especially kids that have sensitivities to things, you know, that are not seen. You can't identify them, but it's affecting their learning. It's affecting their abilities to sleep alone. It's affecting just everything, but it affects older people too. This is something we should all worry about with Wi-Fi and smart meters and 5G and all that good stuff. And then deep cycle programs, these 12 were given to us after the launch in May. Like, I got my Healy, and then a few weeks later, these programs just appeared one day. And these are like the gold cycle, but the next level. So you're not supposed to go right into these, but I use the free flow and the breath of life every day on my doggy. And today I did renewal on him, because these are like, we did gold for a few weeks, and now we're on the deep cycle programs. It's just the next level. So it's like going to, you know, like gold cycle on steroids. And then I'm going to talk about the watch programs now instead of trying to come back to this later. I did that last time, and I felt like it was, you know, we're all over the place a little bit. So to this point, these are the programs that you get with the Holistic Health Plus or the Healy Resonance. So you get all of those programs. It's 131 that you get total. And if you get the Holistic Gold or Holistic Health Plus, you just get less of these. I don't know which ones for sure, because I don't have the list in front of me, but you basically just don't get 130. You get like 40 with the gold and like 80 with the Holistic Health, and then 131 with the Healy Holistic Gold Plus. I mean, what am I saying? Holistic Health Plus, and then with the Resonance. So the difference between those levels of Healy is just the programs that you get with them. And there's a list of that. You can get that list from your upline. Okay, now when I go forward, these are now all the programs I got when I got the watch. Okay, so I bought the watch bundle, which gives me the watch, the DNA subscription, and the Healy Advisor. Okay, so now I got many more programs, and this is like where I said like time is an issue. So these are the Healy watch programs. So the ones I've been using is the heart rate variability, which is HRV. Just last week, I think on the demo, I needed the blood pressure support because for some reason my blood pressure spiked in the middle of the night. So the next morning it told me to do this other program I've never even seen before. So the watch is measuring you and what you need and what you should do, and then it's making recommendations. And then these are more Healy watch programs specifically for the meridians. Even though we do have a meridians under the Healy, this is the watch meridian. So this is what it's going to take you to if one of these are recommended. And then we have DN, which stands for digital nutrition. And we have programs for, this is the nutritional heart rate support. So the difference here is these are the nutritional factors. So where here, these are frequencies. So these are frequencies for heart rate variability or stress or tension or blood pressure, okay? Here, these are frequencies for the nutritional support. So nutritional support means like calcium or magnesium or iron or whatever they've done the research and said these nutritional factors would help with these same issues. So this is through a digital microcurrent program giving you what you need to support this body system. Okay, bioenergetic support is actually just in a weird place, but that comes with the Healy resonance also. And then we have the digital nutrition mixtures, which are like also, this would be like going to Whole Foods and getting a brain tonic or brain nutrient complex or skin vitamins or heart vitamins or blood pressure vitamins or thyroid support. So these are like those blends of support, but from a nutrition standpoint. And then we have them for weight management, trace elements. You just see that there's just so many things on the screen. I mean, we could honestly do this for hours if we went through every one of these. I try to do it kind of fast just so you can kind of get a taste of what I have on my phone. And then this is number 3. So again, immune support, fertility, allergy support, libido support. So someone's taking something for that, they could just do it with the Healy. Okay, and then we have the women's support, children's support, psyche, sleep, growth, wounds, men. I mean, just so many things. And then we have calcium and these other nutrients, and these are the individual substances. So instead of it being in a heart blend or a men's or women's multivitamin, these are the actual elements. So you'll see on my watch what it tells me I should take, and it's been pretty much saying that the whole time. I was, I do have a story to share about this having to do with my dog. Is he gets groomed like about every 6 weeks or so, and I've been doing all these programs on him, right? I mean, I have weird hair, baby hair growing, and my hair always looks kind of strange because I have like different lengths of hair all over the place. But what I've never ever had happen with my dog is between grooming, so 3 weeks later, his nails had grown so long that they were grabbing the carpet. And I was like, well, maybe she just didn't clip them last time. Maybe she forgot. So I met my groomer, who is a friend of mine, and we do trade outs, and I took him to her, and she goes, what vitamins are you giving him? And I'm like, I'm not giving him any vitamins. And she said, well, his nails have grown in a weird amount since 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, I thought maybe you just forgot to cut them. And she goes, no, I most definitely cut them. And a few of them have grown so much that they had started curling. You know, guys know what I'm talking about if you have animals. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, you know, because no one's ever told me, and I've never had that issue that his nails have grown weirdly fast. And I'm not doing anything for nail and skin with him. It's just the other programs, I think. Okay, then I keep going, and there's, you know, EPA, which is your fish oil, B2, B4, zinc. So if you know, let's say like today I had a lady come in and she had a grocery bag of supplements, literally a full grocery bag. When we broke it down, it ended up being 4-gallon Ziploc baggies filled to the brim because I sorted them by what she should take and what she shouldn't take. This is a much easier and cost-effective way to do the same thing. Because if I wanted to do that, and these programs are only like 15 minutes long, so if I wanted to pick glutathione, I could pick it, download it, and send it. It's all, you know, very easy. Like this one's the vitamin E. And see, it downloads very quickly because it's a shorter program than that first one that I did. But I can send vitamin E to myself digitally, or zinc, or vitamin C, and you see this one's only 15 minutes. I'm going to stop it because I don't want to do that right now. But I have more substances here. You know, some of these are kind of miscellaneous, like histidine for allergies, aspartic acid, cortisone. But still, these things show up on people that they need them. Minerals and B vitamins. It just goes on and on. 5-HTP, melatonin for sleep, tryptophan, serotonin, and that's it. Okay, so when you add that digital nutrition app, whether you buy the watch or not, that you get all these things that say digital nutrition. So that's what you're paying for. You're paying for these programs. The app itself, I'm going to say, you'll see, that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for this. You're paying for all these additional micro programs, because from here, digital nutrition all the way to the end are those new apps you get with that subscription. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to go into now we're talking about a different world now. Okay, so we got to change gears. This is a whole new ballpark, whole new thing here. So I'm going to pull up my doggy. So there's my sweet guy. And once you load someone, it's easy. It's just name and a picture. And I marked that he's a male. And you can load an organization, a building, a house, a person, a dog. You know, there's a whole list of who you can add. If I wanted to just like run a scan on him today, and I'll just look at it compared to yesterday and see if it's the same thing. And you can do this once a day or however often you want. This is like very expensive equipment if you had to buy this, like software like this, just this part. Okay, so the microcurrent part, let's just talk about that going back a second. Microcurrents and frequency technology programs, not automated, just the kind you have to dial and the kind I hate, run in the $6,000 to $15,000 range. This technology right here that I'm about to show you starts in about the $15,000 range and can go into the $35,000 range in what I call informational systems. This is a $2,500 thing I have that I'm showing you so far, and it does all of those things. Okay, so this remedy is the one that showed up for him last night, Cocculus. And some of the things it showed up was they had an aversion to food and drink, which remember I did it last night and my doggy started eating and drinking, and half an hour later. It shows grief and emotional upset, like their throat may feel dry or have a sensation of lump or weakness. I'm reading there towards the bottom. And the other one, Lachesis, oh, it changed. The second one was carbo-veg, which was being in a complete state of exhaustion. So the first one, this one, is the same as his first one last night. But his second one last night was carbo-veg, which is a famous homeopathic remedy having to do with being in an exhausted state. His second one tonight, though, is passion flower, which is passiflora. And it says it's an excellent sleeping pill, and it helps people just kind of, you know, like if they're too restless or can't sleep or whatever. And then the third one, Lachesis, let's see what it says. Feeling constricted. It seems like constriction, especially talking about the throat, like he has a known issue with his teeth. But anyway, so I think that might be also the reason why he was not wanting to eat or drink, but now today he's fine again. Last night and today he ate and drank normally. But you see, it has a full description. So if I want to see what they are now, I do homeopathy, so these make sense to me when I read them. But for you guys, you know, you can just read it and say, okay, well, this fits. Usually, so far, what I've seen with the scans I've done, that they've been perfect. And like he has allergies and asthma. So Allium cepa is the homeopathic for onion, and it's a very famous remedy for hay fever and allergies. And again, throat and larynx shows up. So this is like 3 out of 5. Now that's all fine and good, but what do I do with that? Okay, right now it's just information. But the cool part is I can hit actions and I can click on the button vibrate, and I can set this to however long I want. I'm just going to do it right now for 8 seconds. And it's going to start sending the frequencies. Now this time I'm not connected to anything. My dog is not sitting with the Healy right this second. I'm looking at him, but he's not next to it. And so it just sent it for 8 seconds. So he just got a little dose of these remedies. Now I could set it longer. Sorry, my thing. There we go. I could set it longer, you know, up to hours if I wanted to. But I just did a quick little thing just to give him a little help. Okay, if I want to look at his emotional state, which, you know, with animals is hard to know, you can kind of know if they're in a good mood or bad mood. But if I really want to get to the bottom of it, I can do Bach flower essences. I can do Australian bush, or I could do the Alaskan essences to look at his emotional state. That's not even the coolest thing. I'm just doing this because I like it. I love Bach flowers. I'm a huge flower essence lover, and I use these a lot with my clients. and I use a lot of homeopathy with my clients. For those of you that don't know much about those, Maria Boldry and I are doing a practitioner workshop at the end of August. It's $169 and it's a full weekend, and we're offering it for Healy people so that we can teach you what we know and try to share information so you feel more confidence when using the Healy device. Okay, so his top remedy is Loranthus, and you know, it goes and talks about the burden of inconsistency and changing moods is balance. So it says it's for security and determination. And then olive is the second one, and this one is from extreme exhaustion. Now, I said that for 2 days he pretty much slept and didn't eat. And this one, again, would be a good idea, because whenever you're seeing things about exhaustion and they need that extra boost. Today also, I did the bioenergetic boost on him. And I'm going to do this one too, just for a few seconds. So if I do this for, let's say, 17 seconds, this is actually how I would treat someone, is find out what the top things are and then give them a solution. And they could be across the city, they could be in another state, they could actually be in another country. All you need is their name and their photograph, and then it doesn't vibrate of this information into their holographic field. Okay, but the cool thing is, I'll get out of my personal favorites, but the cool thing is you can also use Analyze and go to all Healy programs, which means it's a list of all the microcurrent program pages. Like, let's say you don't know what to do. You're like, okay, I have the Healy now, what do I do? This is how you know. So if I go to all Healy programs, I'm doing an analysis, and then it's telling me what to do next. So it's telling me the next layer to go. So it's telling me go to Healy Gold. That's what I always start with. And then fitness. But remember, fitness could be regeneration, which is something I did on him earlier. Learning can be brain and cognition, sleep, and bioenergetic program too. Now, even within the gold cycle, there's options. I could vibrate and do a balance this way, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to the gold cycle, and I'm going to see actually which program in the gold cycle, because the gold cycle is a heading. It's like a program category. But if I want to know which program to actually go do microcurrents on when I get off of the Zoom call, this is going to tell me, and then I can go right there. So it's saying go to balance, energy, relax, release, and care in that order. So I would do balance today. It's interesting because I did bioenergetic boost today because I just felt like he needed an energy boost, and I feel like I was on the money earlier when I was running the programs. Now, I wouldn't do energy right before bed, so tonight may not be the best time to do that. I could do like balance tonight, and then tomorrow morning run the energy program on him. So this is just a little taste. Like, I can go to all of these things in the my internet seems like very slow right now for some weird reason. It's never slow, but Zoom calls definitely slow it down. Okay, if I go here, though, you see all the program, the job program list, the sleep program list, the beauty. That's a whole page of things that you have to choose from, but doing a scan on them will let you know which ones to actually use. Okay, and then besides all the Healy microcurrent programs, we have I Ching, we have Celestial Salts, which is usually that's referred to as homeopathy and minerals, Alaskan Gem essences, Australian bush, amino acids, which is basically nutrition, Mentera Medica, which is homeopathy, and Bach flower, which is again emotional. The other thing that's under the resonance that is pretty slick, oops, is I can go to aura analysis. So if I want to do aura analysis, I can run an aura scan, and you can also use this information to know which chakras to go and balance, either here using the vibrate mode or going back to the microcurrent app. So just remember, when I keep saying go back to the other app, there's two apps. There's the app, that's the color of the aura thing. You can go to the microcurrents, which is the pink dot app, or you can stay in analyze mode, which that's this one, and that's the blue dot app. One other thing I want to show you that I think is pretty cool is this is the group I set up for the, if you weren't on the call last night, I set up a organization, the Healing Natural Health Practitioner Workshop participants. and I'm already sending stuff to the group that is for prosperity, success, income. I don't know why that's not coming up, but it seems something to do with my connection right now. I only have 2 bars on my cell phone, so that's, here we go. Maybe not. I'll try to show this. I don't usually just have 2 bars. So like I said, I don't know what's going on. Usually with the history function, I can pull up what I've done for the group, and what I'm going to be doing is sending positive vibes and affirmations and numbers for success and things I know how to do using this kind of technology. And those are going to be things that we're going to be talking about each week as we get closer to the workshop. All right, I'm going to go out of this because let me try one more time, but if it doesn't show you, I don't want to get hung up on it. Yeah, it just won't show me the history for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this app, and I'm going to go to next, the Healy Advisor app. Now, this app has been super useful for me working with other people. Like if you want to put in, it's like a Wikipedia, but telling you which condition. This is not scanning you. This is not measuring you individually. This is not anything personal. This is just like a medical dictionary that you can go say, okay, which programs would you run if you have tinnitus? So it says liver, kidneys, first application, second application. I can take a picture like with my phone like this. I can scroll down. And this is what I did for someone earlier today. I can take another picture. You see there's 3 pages of programs that people can run for tinnitus, just tinnitus. Okay, so let's say I want to change that to thyroid issues. There's my list for thyroid issues, and it's a different list. Actually, lots. Let's say I want to do cancer. There's my list. Just amazing. I mean, you don't need to be a practitioner to do this. You can just type in what you're looking for. And if it isn't in there, it allows you to ask the experts to add it. And you just have to put the name of the condition, and then someone compiles it, I guess, and puts it back in there. Also on the Advisor app is my own personal program schedule list. So what's up on my queue right now is to send myself zinc. So my scheduled program right now, today, Wednesday, is zinc, pure care, balance, liver, zinc, phenylalanine. And you'll see that it seems like every Wednesday when I do the call, it's similar because that's what rotation we're on. So it changes for Thursday and it changes for Friday, because if I look at my program pool, these are all the programs that, because of the stuff I've been doing and scanning and my watch, it's telling me these are the things that it wants me to do. Now, do I have time to do all these in one day? No, no one does. So what it does is it takes your list, and these are all the things that I do some of these, but I don't do all of these. Actually, what I'm noticing today is it's added quite a number to my nutritional list. Like this has just changed like in the last few days, because glycine was not on there before, glutamine wasn't on there, tryptophan wasn't on there. These have all just been added to my list. So what happens on your program pool is that you can't run that many programs in a day. So if you go to your different days of the week and look, you can, it'll change because it's trying to get you to have like up to 7 programs a day, but not more than 7, because it's recommended when you first get the Healy, just do 1 to 3, then 3, but not do more than 7 per day. So it takes my laundry list here and it maps it out on the calendar. And you see I have quite a lot, and my nutrition list is getting bigger. But I'll show you in some ways it's really been helping too. So if I go back to this, that's just what's happening. If I want to click zinc here and start the program, it ties if it'll do it, because if I close the app properly, which I don't know if I did, but it should, if your apps are closed, it'll tie directly into your microcurrent app and go right to zinc. You don't have to go search for it and find it. We'll see if that works. But see, this is the big deal. If you don't close your apps properly, which I have a bad habit of not doing, so I have to go back and close it. Okay, I'm not going to waste time on that though. I'm going to go back to advisor. I'll show you in a second another way you can do it, because I can just go into microcurrents and also just find it. But if you close your apps properly, you hit start, it'll go find it, and I'll do it properly in 1 second. Okay, so if I go back out of this, then here's nutrition. Now, I'm not even doing paleo right now. Like, I've actually just recently changed what I'm doing, which is very interesting, because 2 weeks ago I changed my whole outlook on what I was eating. And now, I didn't tell Healy I did that. Healy still thinks I'm doing paleo. I'm not doing paleo. It says I'm gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, and wheat allergies. And here's my shopping list. Okay, that's all fine and good. But I don't know how, because I didn't change paleo. Right now, I would just say I'm doing clean eating, okay? And let's say I want to take off that one. I'm not doing that anymore. So if I want to confirm, I just think it's interesting that my watch has picked up that I'm not doing paleo, because I didn't tell it. And my vitamins, like I said, this program right here, I'm really kind of blown away right now, because on this page, prior to a week ago, the main nutritional things that showed up for me was zinc and phenylalanine. Those are the two that were pretty much consistently on my list. But it was, I'm looking tonight, there's those two. Those always show up. But taurine, B6, C, tyrosine, thyroxine, sodium, chloride, iron, iodine, selenium, these have never shown up before. So that's telling me that my different eating in the last 2 weeks is not necessarily working better for me, because it sure is listing a lot more nutritional items I need based on what I'm eating now. And somehow it's decided that based on the watch, I guess, because I don't know how else it would know that. There's no other way it would know. Okay, then I want to come out of this for a second. That's pretty dang amazing. And then I want to go into this one. So this is actually the watch app. Now, wait, let me go back a second. On the advisor, you're getting advisor and digital nutrition. Those are both here. So, you know, I'm getting my digital nutrition recommendations. I have my search function, all that's there. Okay, so those are the two apps you're paying a subscription for. But then there's still the Healy Watch app, because you need something to basically navigate your whole thing, you know. So my heart rate variability, if you guys have been following me at all, you know, it started out like at 18. I think last week it was 40 something, maybe 48 when I did the same call. Today at 65. So it's getting better. It was horrible in the beginning. I didn't wear my watch to bed last night, so sleep data is not there. But if I want to look at other nights of sleep, like Monday night, I can still see, you know, how I slept, you know, the deep sleep, the light sleep, the awake time during the middle of the night. See, on Monday night, I only slept 2 hours in deep sleep. I'm still sleeping. Like, I feel great, feel rested. I would say maybe before I had Healy at all, my deep sleep was 0, and my light sleep was probably all the time that would have said I was sleeping. My average heart rate during sleep, my beats per minute was 79. I think that's probably normal. If I go here, now this is the cool part. Now I'm going to show you something. This is going to change in real time, because right now I haven't done this today on purpose. I usually do this actually at night when I'm laying in bed. But if I want to measure my heart rate variability and let it make the recommendations for me on which programs to run, I can test this in real time. So this is just activating this on my watch. So it's measuring the BRA and BIA, which is basically going to pick up the pulse, the heart rate variability, your heart rate function. And this is where it's going to start recommending additional apps. This is how you get so many apps recommended or programs recommended in your program list, is because whenever you do this, and whenever the watch is measuring your sleep and measuring your activity and all that other stuff, it's putting all that number crunching together and then spitting out what you need. Well, you're going to see it like change in real time. So as I go through this is just like 40 more seconds. It does a minute and a half test. It looks like my heart rate's good and steady. You know, I did this the other day and my BRA, it looked like a crazy person. And I couldn't figure out why. I wasn't like extra stressed, but I got a really kind of bad reading the other day. And I was laying in bed. I did have kind of a stressful day, but at the moment I did this test, I didn't feel like super stressed. And you see how it looks like a kind of regular heartbeat there under BRA going across the screen. It looked like a kid with a crayon just drawing all over the place. I was like, what is happening? And it came up with all these heart programs. Like obviously something wasn't consistent. And actually that night I didn't sleep too good either. Okay, so now it's finished and it charts everything. But see, the cool part is it tells me the beats per minute. Okay, I could have figured that out. But then if I go here, now I have recommendations. You see it change. So now it says stress, systemic, heart rate variability support, and then digital nutrition, heart rate variability. That's based on what I just did. That you guys could do that and get a totally different set of responses, obviously, because your information is not going to be like mine. So that's in a nutshell what this does. You know, it's giving you personalized attention. It's giving you personalized recommendations. And then let me just show you this one last thing because I really want to show you because it is pretty cool. If I'm not mastering, see, I got a new iPhone 11, like literally before the call last week. I'm still not mastering it because I kind of miss having a home button that I had with my iPhone 7, even though most everything else is quicker and faster. Okay, there. I need to make sure I don't close the Zoom. Okay, so I closed all those apps. Now you're going to see how it's supposed to go. Okay, so now if I go back to Advisor, oh no, sorry, what am I doing? Here, Advisor. Okay, and if I want to go to, I am just all over the place. Hold on. Here, if I want to go to my programs and run Zinc, now if I hit start program, if everything's closed in the background and working properly, it's going to take you automatically to that program in your microcurrent page. And there it did, it went to Zinc. Now see, I wasn't pressing any buttons. It went and I found it. All I have to do at this point is hit start. So it's not, I mean, it is convenient because it takes you right where you need to be. In the case of HRV stuff, like if it said like, for instance, when that is super convenient is if it said something like heart rate variability program, there's like 5 or 6. You have like all these HR support, HRV balance, HRV support. And then on some other pages, you have names that are similar, like right here, DN HR support, DN HRV balance, DN HRV support. What is kind of nice to go straight there so you know that you're getting the right program that it's suggesting that you use. So basically, I'm not gonna put back on the video of me because that's not important. I'm gonna like basically try to stay on these screens and see if I can answer any questions you have. It took like a full hour to get to this point, but I want to make sure if you are new to Healy, especially because I can't answer, like, I don't want to answer technical questions or stuff like that on this call. But if you're new to Healy, if you're trying to decide what to buy, if something I said just totally confused you, if you don't understand the difference between you're getting 2 apps with the Healy Resonance, those are the kind of questions I want, because this call is really geared towards those people that are first getting into Healy. So I want to make sure and answer those questions first. And I can show you on the screen, you know, what the answers are if I need to go find it. So all you have to do is unmute yourself, and then I can show you on the screen where the answer is if anyone has a particular question. Does anyone have a specific question? Don't be shy.
Okay.
Gwen? Oh, go
Unmute.
ahead.
Yes. Yes.
My question is, Gwen, it's kind of simple. It's more about, like say I was on your call for the mind body and I'm a therapist and a nutritionist. So if they're showing, a high one in the Bach flower remedies, that's their most important one, you had said maybe they might need the extra nutrition as well, to get that one while they're clearing. And then the next day you run it and they're needing something different on the Bach flower. So that's an example of how your body changes. And that's confusing to me because it seems like it would be consistent.
Well, that's a great question. I see that question's in the chat too. Are you Suzanne?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a great question. And let me explain that. Sometimes it does change and sometimes it doesn't. Like, I was in Colorado for 2 weeks for vacation, and my dog is my baby. If y'all haven't figured that out already, he's 15. He is like my child. And he was kind of moping around except for when we'd go on hikes, and then he was all lively, but most of the time he was moping around. And I ran Bach flower essences on him, and honeysuckle showed up, and honeysuckle is like for homesickness, and he was acting that way. And so, but honeysuckle's never shown up on him in Houston ever. It was only when we were on vacation in Colorado. So sometimes you'll see the same thing every time at the top because, yeah, they haven't changed. So it doesn't actually change every time, because just like in my homeopathy example tonight, cocculus was his top remedy tonight, and it was his top remedy yesterday. So there's still something going on, I think, with his throat and swallowing and eating, even though it's better than yesterday. But in Bach, and especially in the flower essences, I find that some people can have like a trend, that they're generally depressed or they're dealing with grief. Or another person I had come in today, she lost a daughter in a car wreck in the 90s, and she's being triggered by other things right now that has to do with losing her daughter. So is that the same thing or is that different? It kind of depends on how you look at it. But just from using the Healy since May, my observation is that the trend seems to be the same, but the individual remedies will change and not be exactly the same. And I think that has to do more with like what people are dealing with each day. Like, I'll give you another example. When I first got the Healy, I was under a lot of stress. I mean, that particular weekend, I was in a certification course for Hashimoto's. I was getting a million phone calls and questions and emails. I had to be taking a test for this course, and I got the Healy in the mail on that same weekend. And I was stressed. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to pass this course. I mean, it was very difficult. It's kind of way advanced blood chemistry stuff. And agrimony showed up on me. And agrimony is like when you're trying to put on a smile on your face and be all happy, like I am on a Zoom call, but inside you're like a mess. I mean, I was super stressed and I could not get a break. I mean, like I was getting, I need you to call me now, like that kind of message, while I'm trying to listen to this guy who's Indian, who talks 100 miles a minute in foreign language, like blood chemistry stuff. And the Healy came to the door, and I'm trying to figure it out because I'm excited, and I'm getting bombarded with questions about a million things. So agrimony fit perfect. But would agrimony normally be my state? No, because I'm not usually that stressed out with a happy face, but I was that weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, see, what happened to me is mustard showed up the first time, and it was about depression and all that. And then I had sort of a big explosion right after that emotionally, and I had a lot of anger come out, and I thought, and then the next day it didn't show up. The mustard, I was going to go buy the little Bach flower, and it didn't show up. So I thought, well, maybe it's because I released a lot of emotion. And now
well, that's exactly what I would say happened. Did you vibrate the remedy to yourself, or did you just see it and not vibrate it?
No, I vibrated it. Yeah,
yeah, that is like getting a dose of it though. And that's actually a money saver, because you know how things go. If you went and bought mustard, do you know how many bottles I have sitting around my house that I've used 2 or 3 times and then didn't use it again?
Right.
Like
no,
a lot.
Yeah.
Like hundreds. Because you take something, or I'll buy something for me or my dogs, and then it's over. We don't need it anymore. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I do with this? Throw it away? I keep it, and then I keep it until I eventually throw it away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that makes more sense, I think.
Yeah, I think the explosion was the release that you needed, and then your profile changed. But even on chakras, what I've noticed is, for me, the one that seems to be the most out of balance is throat. Now, I do a lot of talking. I'm hoarse half the time because of talking so much. And I have thyroid issues since I was in my 20s. And I have Hashimoto's. All that would be throat chakra. Now, is it the top every single time? No. It is 90% of the time. And when it's not, I always feel like it's because something else took precedence. Like, you know, let's say you had something affect your heart, like an emotional heart issue that happened because you got in a fight with one of your kids. Then that might jump up. Heart chakra would be the top issue that day, and throat chakra is taking second seat. But that might not be your normal state either, to have a fight with one of your kids. But that just may have happened that particular day. It's almost like reading your storyline. You know, that's what I'm seeing, is it's like reading a storyline, and I could even tell a story from it. If I could run the same person a few days, you know, in a row for like a week or two, I can kind of tell you what's happened to them.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's another question on the chat I want to just answer right now, because it's a good question. If you have the Watch app, well, you need the Watch, and you would get the Watch app. Do you need the DNA app? Does it have important ones the Watch app doesn't? Yes, all those programs. So let me go answer that again. If you get the Watch, just buying the Watch does not mean you get all these microcurrent programs. So let me try to close this properly again. I want to go here. Well, like my old iPhone a little better when it came to closing apps. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off, that off, that off. Okay, so now let me go back to it. If you don't buy the digital nutrition app, you don't get all of these additional programs. So with the Watch, I'm gonna show you. The Watch is great because it's measuring all your personal data, but watch this. If you get the Watch, you're getting this page, Healy Watch programs, this page, Meridian's Healy Watch, and that's it. You're getting 2 additional Healy Watch program pages. If you get the digital nutrition app, you're getting everything that says DN. Digital nutrition, all these pages. That's why the digital nutrition app is the more expensive one, because you're getting all these additional programs. You don't have to buy the digital nutrition app if you get the Watch. It just gives you all the nutrition. And if the Watch makes a recommendation, you wouldn't have the app to give you the solution, is what I would say. And the Watch bundle makes the 2 subscriptions like $80-something instead of $130 if you bought them separately. So there's like a $50 discount on the bundle when you're getting the apps. It's kind of an unknown discount. Well, it's not unknown. If you go to the shopping cart, you figure it out, but it ends up saving you about $200 in the bundle over buying all that stuff separately. Does anyone else have a question? What I'll say in case, until someone does ask a question, is also on the Healy Analyze, having to do with the last question, because that was a very good question about the Bach essences, is that I see trends too on running the all Healy programs. You know, it's not going to be the same every time you do it, but it's not different either. You know, so like what I'll see for someone, let's say an older person who's kind of toxic and never done any detox, and they don't live a clean life really, you'll almost always see the gold programs come up as the top recommendation, which totally makes sense. Now, it might be gold is the top choice one time, and then the next time it's the second choice, but they're always like neck and neck, you know, 1 and 2. So even though it changes slightly, it would make me more nervous if it was always actually identical, because if it was always identical, I'll run Lindsay on this one. Well, no, I'll run Eddie. If it was always identical, that would make me more thinking it wasn't working. Because even though people don't change drastically from day to day, I do think someone could be just more dehydrated one day or just didn't eat great over the weekend or something like that. But when you're going into like this last one, all Healy programs, you'll see that it kind of trends the same. You'll always see learning in the top 5. You'll always see gold in the top 5. Maybe 2 and the order has switched a little bit, or the percentages has switched a little bit, but they won't change drastically. That's what my observation has been.
Gwen, I have a question.
Okay, who is this?
This is Cher.
Hi, Cher. It didn't sound like you.
Hi there. When we run, I guess it's the microcurrent broadcasting. How do you know how long? You did a few seconds. How do you know how long? Does it actually tell you how long to run?
It doesn't tell you how long, and you either can, you can do several things. I do it based on how much time I have. So if I do, the options go from just a few seconds all the way. So let me just do deep cycle on him real quick. If I'm a dowser, so I would dowse that question. You could muscle test that question. You could use your intuition. Or you could say, okay, I have 20 minutes. I want to run 4 things. So I got 5 minutes each. I mean, that's logical. So in the way my world is set up, my whole world is set up by the hour. So if I have an hour to work on someone and I kind of have in my mind, I'm going to do, let's say 5 programs, I could do 20 minutes each. So it's either logical or use some testing method. Some people know how to dowse. Some people can self-muscle test. Some people can do the lean test. We're going to definitely cover that in the practitioner workshop because that's like a basic thing you would do. But you see under deep cycle, like renewal is showing up. And that's the one I was doing today. But when it goes under actions and I see vibrate, now I'm going to tell you that I'm going always by how much time do I have right now? Well, since it's my doggy and I want the very best for him, let's say I'm going to do 5 minutes. But let's say it's the end of the day and I'm not going to do something else on my phone. I would definitely set it up for much longer. I would set it up for, 20 minutes or sorry, someone called in and it interrupted. That's another thing is you might want to put your phone on do not disturb before you start doing a session, because if you start broadcasting and a call comes in and you take the call, then you've got to go back and start over. So that's not true on the microcurrent side, by the way. On the microcurrent side, once the program is transmitted to your device, you're good. You're not using your phone anymore. But that's not true on the Blue Dot app. On the Blue Dot app, you need to be committed. And if your phone is consistently getting text and bombarded with WhatsApp and Telegram and all these things, which drive me personally crazy, put it on do not disturb. And I usually do put my phone on do not disturb before I start seeing clients, because I don't want all those interruptions, and I definitely don't want it to interfere with my analyze and my vibrate right here. So in this case, like 5 minutes, but I have a pendulum on my desk and I would just normally pendle and see, how many minutes. But mostly for me personally, it's how much time do I have? How much time do I have right now to work on this? Because once I start this analyze, I cannot do anything else with my phone. My phone is now tied up for 5 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours or whatever you set it at. So that should be kind of, I think, a deciding factor on your time, which I think is a good question. But to me, it's all, for me, a matter of how many minutes do I have right this second?
I can use my pendulum and figure it out if I have more time.
Yeah, if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you can just right here, go to this list and just use your pendulum and say, well, which one's best? But just remember, if the best choice is 8 hours and 58 minutes, that means you can't use your phone for 9 hours. And is that feasible? I don't know.
Well, I'm going to use an iPad. I'm not using my phone.
Okay, well then on iPad, then go for it. You can do the longest setting. And I would, if that's what you get as the best answer, is the most effective for whatever you're working on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good question. Okay, any other questions?
Hi, Gwen, it's Julie. Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Julie. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Julie.
So, I'm curious about something because I just got mine, and I was running myself this morning or this afternoon earlier, and I was using the blue app, the blue dot.
Mhm.
So if I was going to run myself, and I think I started doing this a little bit, but it pulled up like several different options. I guess I was thinking you could select one and run one at a time, but I'm not clear how that works because there's several different options that come up. Does it do like one at a time, or can you pick one that you want to run in that, or do you have to go back to the microcurrent app?
That's a good question. If you do it here on the screen I have up right now on the Blue Dot app, you're going to be running your top 5. So you're broadcasting basically it's coming out as a homeopathic potency of the solutions for these top 5 things. So if I start this, then it's gonna cycle through all 5 of them, and it's gonna just do one at a time for like a second, and then it goes to the next one. So if I put this timer on a minute, you'll see it change. You'll see it go from Breath of Life to the next one, and it just rotates. Okay. So you're getting all of them. If you only want one of them, now you have to remember though that the Analyze is doing, like a long distance vibrational homeopathic solution for what you've chosen. It is not a microcurrent. If you want to specifically use microcurrents, you have to go to the Pink Dot app and you can choose Breath of Life and just do that one. They're actually 2 totally different approaches. I like both of them, but I'm loving the microcurrents. I've had personally this kind of technology to do broadcasts for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I love the microcurrents because it's automated. I can still do other things. I don't have to sit here and think about this for an hour. I just do it. And even for myself and my dog, I usually don't do broadcasts longer than 15 or 14 seconds or whatever it is, up to a minute, just because I don't have time. I'd love to sit here and do it all day. I don't have that time.
So like with the blue one, I did it for a little while and it was really strong. I felt the energy really strongly. I was like, this is a little too much. So then I went over to the microcurrent app and just did that. But you don't have to have the phone right by I just kind of put my Healy on my bra strap like you suggested, and then had my phone kind of near it. I don't need to have the phone near it, do I?
No.
Okay.
No, it can be totally different. And let me tell you why. I mean, some people are sensitive, and I know Julie is, but I wanted to explain why they're actually so strong and effective. Is LM is the potency they're using, and LM is a very high potency in homeopathy. It's past a 1M. And LMs, the way I was taught, are encompassing your mental, your physical, your spiritual, and emotional aspects of that remedy. So it's hitting you from all 4 sides of your different energy bodies. And so I would say that I would recommend the resonance if you can afford it, but I'm going to say you should play with both sides. Don't get just on the Pink Dot app and don't get just on the Blue Dot app. You should do both, because I think certain people are going to honestly resonate with one more than the other. I think some people are going to really love the Analyze and the Vibrate, and I think other people are going to really love, because the microcurrents is giving you energy. It's giving your body vitality and energy to heal. The Analyze app is not doing that. It's not giving you that microcurrent energy. That's like something that's its own unique thing. They're very different. And I don't want people to think that they're the same, because they're not the same. They're not even close to the same.
So if I'm broadcasting to somebody else, because I haven't done this yet, I could use either?
No. Well, you could use either, but only microcurrents if they're in front of you, because the microcurrents, you have to have the Healy on you.
Okay, so I'd have to broadcast. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so I'd have to use the Analyze app or the Blue Dot to broadcast to someone not local.
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we're going to go for about 6 or 7 more minutes, and then we'll call it a night. I want to answer a few more questions, and then you can also definitely go back to who told you about the call. And my email, I want to share my email, and if you guys want to write this down, it's Gwen. I'm going to put it on the chat if I can get back to that screen. It's Gwen@gfia.net, and if you don't get my emails, if you don't know how to reach me, or you want information on the practitioner workshop or any of that kind of thing, or you want to be on my email list so you know about our training calls, which we do 1 or 2 a week, like we had one last night, then just send me an email. I'll put you on my email list, and then you'll get everything that we send out. I usually send out like one helpful tip a day, and then something about a training or a recording, usually once a day. Okay, there's some other questions here. So if you use the digital nutrition, do you still take basic supplements like vitamins and omega-3s? I would say no, because you can take them digitally now. And then my grandson is type 1 diabetic. He wears a Dexcom glucose monitor and an Omnipod insulin pump. Is it okay to use the Healy with these devices on? Yes, there's no contraindication for that. And if someone isn't sure, they could do the Analyze, because the Analyze isn't even touching the body. So the Blue Dot app. If someone's even wearing a pacemaker, you could use the Blue Dot app. You just can't put the microcurrents on. And then what program for parasites? You would go to the gold programs, because those are detox, and that's where I would start. All your gold programs are about detox, and also your deep health programs are second level detox. Okay, any other questions?
I have one, Gwen. You know, you mentioned about Hashimoto's, and if you have a thyroid imbalance, it appears that you wouldn't necessarily go to the thyroid gland. You would go to some other program that affects the thyroid. Would that be true?
Yeah, can y'all still see my screen?
All we see is your name, you know, written across.
Oh, hold on, let me go back and show my screen again. I don't know why it turned that off. Let's see. So that's one advantage to the Advisor app. So if I go to the Advisor app, and like I showed earlier, if I do thyroid, it gives you a whole slew of things that actually help with thyroid, including the thyroid gland program and bioenergetic balance too. But there's lots of programs that have to do with thyroid. So you can do any of these, like even just hormone balance. I mean, not that you have to do all of them, but all of these are recommendations when I type in thyroid. And Hashimoto's would fall into that category, and so would Graves' disease.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's why the Advisor program is so helpful, because some of these I wouldn't have even picked. Like I wouldn't have necessarily picked bacteria for thyroid. I can understand why, because of dental bacteria, because your thyroid's the very next thing your mouth stuff sees. And I can understand the liver, because that has to do with thyroid hormone conversion. I can understand stress, thyroid gland for sure, hormones for sure. But would I have picked Care and Pure for my thyroid? No, I would have never picked those. But I figure that the people that have researched and developed the Healy probably know better than me on which programs to use. So that's why I've been even myself going to Advisor over things I might have picked on my own.
Why do some have the arrow and some have the plus?
That's because, that's a good question. If I hit the arrow, it'll take me directly to my microcurrent app. It'll let me just go directly to it. If I hit the plus, it added it to my program pool. So now I have one more program in my program pool. So every time you something you want to add to your program pool, it's that easy to add it. If I want to hit play, then it'll take me directly to my microcurrent program, so I can do the microcurrents for that particular app, that particular program.
Right. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any
Can
other
I
question?
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody mentioned about parasites, and I had someone, a friend, who has had parasites for a very long time and didn't know it, and she has extensive swelling in her stomach, and a lot of probably biofilm in her lungs, her respiratory system. So, I was really happy to hear that you recommended the Gold program, because they're detox as well as, the deep cycles. Do you have an idea of how long you would recommend doing the Gold program, and which ones would you recommend, and which ones of the, of the deep cycle that?
Well, I just put in Lyme just as an example because that's a parasite, and it's on the screen which ones it recommends: immune, balance, care, pure. So those are all in Gold Cycle. Feel good, systemic, lymphatic, nerve, bacteria, cell, clean all, which is in deep, and first application, which is in deep. So that's just an example, and that's probably pretty much
And you would
what
do
I'm.
like a week at a do each one for a week, or would you recommend?
Oh
like
no, 6 week. I mean, 60 days minimum when you're talking about parasites. Under 60 days, you haven't dealt with larvae or eggs, so you're never going to get anywhere.
You're right. I agree. So you would say the entire program of all of those, you would do it for at least 60 days.
Well, it'd be hard to do all of these for 60 days. I'd probably rotate them, but definitely do your gold and deep cycle every day for 60 days. I mean, you know, that's the thing with parasites, is that it can be a more complex issue, because what if their thyroid's low? You know, like if I was looking at that case from a naturopathic doctor standpoint, I'd say, you know, what's their temperature? If their temperature's low, they're never going to get rid of parasites. Are they acidic? You know, what's the terrain? What's their diet? You know, if not, you're just, you know, if no one's ever talked to that person about that, that's why they've never getting rid of them. I meet people that have had Lyme or parasites 20 or 30 years, and they've been on everything known to man, and no one ever talked to them about terrain issues.
You're right.
And
Yes.
and terrain is your biochemistry, and if your body is like a latrine, guess what? The parasites will not leave.
No, they fight. They stay and fight.
Yeah, they do. It's just like trying to get rid of candida while you're feeding it sugar. It's not going to happen.
Right. So do you recommend a diet that's probably just vegetables and, you know, maybe raw vegetable juicing, and staying away from, you know, meat and dairy and, you know, white flour and all of that?
I don't necessarily go that strict, but what I know is that people can't be acidic. If they're acidic and they have parasites, they're not going to ever win the battle. So people can have other things. They just need to be able to measure their urine pH. We're going to cover this in the practitioner workshop too. But let's say they were vegan. Let's say if they were not just vegan, but because people are awful vegan, they're junk food vegans. They think Cheetos is okay. So if someone is juicing and that's all they did, but they still have that low thyroid, and if they're juicing, their thyroid's going lower. So you give me a vegan that's juicing, their temperature is going to drop a point or two. So they just shot themselves in the foot in the temperature department. So if they don't have that temperature above 98, and if they don't have that pH at 7, then they're just not going to get well. So it's just not a simple just juice all the time. And honestly, people can't do that forever. You know, I get bored with the same diet forever. I have to change things up, or I get bored easily anyway. So if you take a person and put them on a green juice thing for more than a week or two, they're not going to comply.
Right. So what do you recommend? I mean, to supplement, you know, a really healthy diet of vegetables and fresh fruits and things. Do you recommend having, you know, like more complex carbohydrates, you know, like rice and beans, things like that, or
You know, that just depends. Like, I'm not trying to avoid the question, but everyone's different. If someone's a blood type, we're going to go through all this in the practitioner workshop. If someone's a blood type O, they need meat, or they're going to feel terrible. If someone's a blood type A, they need less meat and they need digestive enzymes. You know, there's not a one answer for everybody. Like, if you try to make me vegan, I'm going to be a very miserable person in about 6 months. I've already tried it 3 or 4 times. It didn't work for me. But I'm not a person who thinks everybody should be on the same diet. I'm not a person who thinks, I don't even think that paleo works for half the people on paleo. Like, I'm always experimenting with foods and things myself. But I can tell you that if you give me a 50-plus-year-old woman who is in menopause and trying to put them on paleo, it's just as likely they're going to gain weight as lose weight. And it's not even about weight. It's about how they feel. And if you put a person with liver toxicity on a paleo or keto diet, they're not going to do too good. You know, they're going to just not rally. So even between, you know, give me a guy who's 40 in karate, you know, a black, whatever we call it, and I can't think of the word, you know, like an advanced karate person or martial arts, you know, they might thrive on black belt, that's the word. They might thrive on a diet that would be totally wrong for a 60-year-old female who's sedentary. So, and temperature plays a big part, acidity plays a big part, you know. A lot of people that avoid meat, their brains are shot. They just can't think straight. That's why they feel so much better on paleo, is because they're finally getting those amino acids, but then their liver is bogged down. So I honestly think it's about balance. It's about, you know, some meat, some fruits, some vegetables, but you know, people got to give up the wine every night, or they got to give up the sugar, or they got to give up other things. But I think everything else kind of in moderation. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I truly agree with that, and I'm happy to hear about balance and biochemistry balance. A lot of the parasite diets always are a little bit more, you know, really lean and more vegetables and just fruits, and I agree with you. I don't think people could last very long. So thank you for all of your feedback. It was really, really helpful, and I think I can give her some good, you know, in a little bit better direction now. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm gonna actually close on that. I do want to mention, because her questions were exactly what the practitioner workshop is going to be about, because the human body is complex, and I don't believe that everybody needs the same things. And that's the beauty. You have a beautiful tool with the Healy. You say I'm walking around because I'm already restless. I gotta move. But the Healy is a tool, but the rest of it, but it's not going to misplace terrible diets and, you know, a bottle of wine a night and a pot of coffee every morning. It's not going to fix that. You know, we have to still take personal responsibility for those other issues. Is it going to help? Yeah, it's going to help. But don't we have personal responsibility? Yes. So we're going to get into the brain and physiology and anatomy and emotions and all this, and how it ties into our health and healing, and a lot of, you know, common conditions and things that you can help, plus references on the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, the colon, you know, foods you can eat to help, herbs you can take. We're going to talk about homeopathy, the principles behind it, how it works. We're going to take a deep dive into emotions, way more than we could do on the Zoom call a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or when that was. And anyway, I think if you're a person that's just into Healy and you're eager to learn more about health, you know, between Maria and I, we've been doing this 40 years. I mean, 20 years for me and 20 years for her. We have a different background, but we have a lot of the same, you know, likes and experiences. So I think the people that will participate will get a lot out of it. Definitely, I think you'll get your money's worth. And lots of handouts and self-assessment tools and things that you can really use to find out more about yourself and ways that you can help yourself, not just with the Healy, but with foods and with, you know, ways to go with the information that you can gather. So anyway, like I said, if you're not on my email list, it's gwen@gfia.net. If you're interested in the Healy and you're on the call tonight and you haven't ordered a Healy yet, please talk to the person that sent you to the call. Because that person can guide you in the right direction. And if you have any questions that maybe we didn't get to, you can also send me an email. I do this call every Wednesday for the sake of introducing Healy to the world. Next Tuesday, we're going to do a training call on placing people with Healy, the legs. We're going to talk about the master key. I mean, everything that comes up is like ongoing questions for me. And I get lots of emails. We try to put these in training calls so that we can kind of answer the question for everybody at the same time. So thanks for your time tonight. I know it's a big time commitment learning, but I think it's worth it. Hope you guys have a great night. All right, bye-bye.
Gwen, how much was that workshop you mentioned?
It's 169, and it's Friday night, Saturday all day, and Sunday all day. So it's about 18 hours or 19 hours. And it's
is that in person or is that online?
No, online. It's all going to be online, and it's right now we're at about 100 pages of documents that we're going to cover. So it's lots of reference materials and things for you to share, but I can send you an email with all the details if you send me an email.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys have a great night.
All right, thank
Bye.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.